Hey, this is the C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 64. Overall, I thought it was a pretty meh card, to be perfectly honest with you. There were some cool things that happened. Crow Cop getting the TKO victory. The big upset with Marina. Is that Marina? I think it's Marina. Morales versus Joan Calderwood. Leon Edwards versus Seth Baczynski, also that 8-second knockout was cool. Otherwise, man, there was a lot of just bad MMA, a lot of clinching against the fence, a couple good finishes here and there, but actually not really. Just, guillotine from Alexandra Albu, nice TKO from Stevie Ray though. It wasn't that great of a card to be, in my opinion. Bonuses: Leon Edwards and Mirna Morales got performance of the night, while the main event bout between Filipovic and Gonzaga got fight of the night honors. My overall picks were pretty good, 8 out of 12. I did really good on those prelims. I only missed Meza versus Stasiak on the prelims. Didn't do so hot with the main card, but my overall picks are not too bad, 8 out of 12. One thing to note, 2 out of 5 Polish fighters won on this card. Who was that? Paul Polak and Bartosz? Yeah, Bartosz Fabinski. There's a lot of fence grabbing too that went really unnoticed on this card. A lot of prospects and or just lower level fighters fought in this card as well. I think that was not a great, made this card not very good. Let's get started. Mirko Krokop Filipovic defeated Gabriel Gonzaga by TKO in the 3rd round. The first 2 rounds Gonzaga did well. He even mounted Gonzaga in the 1st round and the 2nd round. Timed the takedowns well. Then he faded fast in the 3rd round. Went for a sloppy takedown, for example. His chin isn't that great. Up until that point, the fight was just alright. I felt that if Gonzaga committed more to the ground and pound in the mount position, he probably could have got the finish. Some of the problems, like Damian Maia has that problem. Sergio Moraes even has that problem too, where they just don't throw a lot of ground and pound. They look for the sub a lot of times because they are like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu players, or practitioners, first and foremost. Gonzaga, though, not the most winning fighter as of late. Chin is just getting worse and worse. The finishing sequence was nice, especially with that short, it looked like a left hook / elbow that started it off. The follow-up ground and pound and whatnot. Good stuff from Krokop there, but, it wasn't looking great until that moment. With that said, I don't know if... Gonzaga's like a good hand, I suppose, to keep around. Maybe for one more fight. Should really think about retirement. I don't know last time he won, and he keeps getting knocked out, too. Last time he won was like Sean Jordan or something like that. Because, got knocked out by Mitrione in his last fight. Then he lost decision to Stipe Miocic too, so it's not on a great win. Gonzaga's not on anything of a win streak. He's on a pretty big losing streak at this point, and it's not looking very good. When he came back to the UFC, he looked really good, but now his age is starting to show. His chin isn't that great. He's always been kind of slow. Krokop honestly doesn't look that great either. He's not that quick either. He's 40 years old. He can still get the knockout, I suppose, but now as far as he should fight next, I suppose he should fight someone like Bigfoot Silva wouldn't be bad, or Gonzaga can fight Bigfoot Silva if they decide to keep fighting. Or Krokop versus He's got a rematch with Nogueira maybe, or like a. I know Nogueira's gonna fight Struve. Maybe he gets a winner of that fight. Who else? And then like Gonzaga, if he stays around, can get the loser of that fight. He needs to get names though. You know, Filipovic needs to fight name guys. Arlovsky would be another good guy to fight. I know Arlovsky's fighting Brown, so. But you know, I think that's who he should be fighting at this point. You know, if he fights like a young prospect, I can actually see Krokop losing. And like I said, Gonzaga, I mean, I don't know if he'll get cut. Maybe he'll get cut, but he has some name value. You know Bellator's going to, like, nab him once, if the UFC decides to cut him, too. So, you know, they might as well keep him if he decides to keep fighting. But he's really got to think about, you know, his career and whatnot. Moving forward. Next round, I thought Jimmy Manuwa defeated Jan Blachowicz by unanimous decision. Not a great fight. Both guys threw a lot of single strikes, a lot of clinching against the cage. I hear that Manuwa injured something pretty badly, so he wasn't really going for it too much, except in like a couple spurts, especially in the third round. It's a good win for him. I mean, you know, that's all I can really say. It's a good win for him. I guess he can fight the winner of OSP versus Pat Cummins. Be pretty good. Is he about Shogun yet? Maybe fight Shogun or something like that, or Nogueira, Little Nogueira or something like that. It's kind of hard to place Manuwa because, like, I don't know. I think he gets just taken down over and over again by like Phil Davis or Bader or something like that. But like, you know, light heavyweight, man, in my opinion, it is overall, as far as an overall quality and even quantity, especially in the UFC, it is not a deep division anymore. Yeah, on the top you got John Jones, Gustafsson, Rumble Johnson, Daniel Cormier. I mean, there's just big there's big disparities in talent, like, after that, you know, especially from the top 10 to the mid-tier. So, and with Blachowicz, I mean, loser of OSP versus Cummins, it's more mid to lower level guys for him, really. Next fight, I thought Paulo Pollock defeated Sheldon Westcott by unanimous decision. Westcott did well in the first round. I mean, he's not a technical guy, though. And I knew that he doesn't have a good gas tank, and it just kind of shows here. He kind of, like, gets that clinch, tries to bully his opponent with, like, the body lock or whatnot, and really forces that takedown until he gasses out. And, like, you saw it. And when he fought Alessia Doro, for example, I mean, you can't work that strategy in the UFC. It's just not gonna work. And he's not even the most technical guy. He doesn't have like this great. I mean, you can look at the way he's trying to take down Pollock, and it's like clinch and just forcing these takedowns to the ground, and it just doesn't work. You know, and his striking, I mean, he barely struck, and the few times he did, he's getting countered and just outstruck all day by Pollock. At least for Pollock, he's technical. He's just one of those guys that's good everywhere, you know, stand-up's decent, takedown defense isn't too bad. You know, I mean, he got taken down in his last fight pretty much a lot of times, you know. Seems to have some good Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills as well. But, like, I can't really say much. I can't really call him a prospect or anything like that. Like a good prospect at the very least, you know. It's like he looks like a decent mid-level fighter. I mean, I'm not trying to be insulting here. It just, and Westcott, the guy he picked, I mean, just looked terrible, man. I mean, that guy, wow. And just maybe he should, fighters are getting cut after 2 losses in a row, but excuse me, they're staying in the UFC despite having 2 losses in a row, but Westcott's style just isn't working, man. I don't know what it is. Something about his training or something maybe isn't working. I don't know, because you can't beat a guy in welterweight. And there's a lot of good wrestlers in this division, too. I mean, you can't work that. You can't outgrind some of these grinders, too. Some of these grinders are like tough as nails. I mean, you got like Court McGee, Kenny Robertson, Mike Pierce, George Sullivan, Ryan LaFleur. I mean, you have these like guys that can do Sheldon Westcott's game better and more well-rounded with better cardio and better output, so it wouldn't surprise me to see Sheldon Westcott get cut. He needs to change something here, because his approach just isn't working. Next fight, that Mirna Moroz defeated Joanne Calderwood by armbar in the first round. I did watch footage of Moroz, and honestly, I didn't remember boxing looking that good. It's pretty good. She has good stance. She moves pretty well. Didn't look too bad. I'm a boxer. I didn't necessarily like. I know she's into arm bars and whatnot. But I don't think the best strategy is to pull guard ever in mixed martial arts. It worked here. I don't think it will work at a higher level. Which is saying something, because Calderwood was like the number 6 fighter strawweight. But yeah, I gotta say, Joanne looked terrible. I mean, I am a big fan of Joanne Calderwood, and to be honest with you, she hasn't looked good in a long time. When she fights grappling-based fighters like Kachi Kamkampa, for example, or something like that, I think she fought Norma Rueda Center. She defends takedowns and shows a pretty low output game, but ends up getting the win because she's a spear striker. But you can even watch like her when she was on The Ultimate Fighter, even against Emily Kagan, she didn't look that great. Looked good in like one spurt against Rose Namajunas, but like really bad on the ground. And this fight reinforces, man, she looked. I mean, her idea of getting out of the armbar is to pull up instead of stack. That is a white belt level mistake there. I was just, wow, that was really bad. She needs to work on her ground. I remember against Emily Kagan, she didn't have the right control. Like, she couldn't even grab the Kimura correctly. The other problem with Joanne Calderwood, I love her, but man, she it's just one of those things where it's like she's not fighting on the highest levels. And I mean, in Invicta, she looked good, but like, she has some solid wins. Kachi Kamkampa is a really good win, but she's always fighting opposition that she can like noticeably outstrike. But one of the problems with Calderwood is her at boxing range. She is just terrible there. She gets hit so many times. She has no sense of defense. And even her boxing, like offensively, just isn't that good. She's really good up close. Knees and elbows from the clinch. That's her game. Her outside kicking game's alright. It's mainly her up close game that's really good. Bad win for bad showing for Calderwood. She had, like I said, she has not looked very good for a while. I don't know what it is. It could be, honestly, she should probably change camps. Nothing against Dinky Ninjas personally, but like, if she wants to get better, now's the time. She's only been fighting since 2012. So there's a lot of potential for her to get better, but She needs to work on her boxing. She needs to work on her defense. She needs to work on her ground game. Moroz, though, man, I'm impressed. I like what I see from her. You know, I mean, solid boxing. Obviously has a good armbar at the very least. Not when it likes not big that she pulled guard though to get the armbar. I don't think that'll work against a lot of opposition. Yeah, just great one for her. She was calling out Joanna Jędrzejczyk, the champion. I don't think she's ready for her. However, who can you really get against her that's in the UFC right now? I mean, honestly, who's a good option? Joanne Calderwood just lost. And everyone was thinking that if Joanne Calderwood won, she'd probably get the title shot. In the UFC, not overall MMA, but in the UFC, she'd be on a whopping 2-fight win streak. And Seal Hiham and Mirna Moroz. You know, it's like, and that would get a title shot, you know, or there's a good chance I'd get a title shot. Claudia Gadelia's out, so maybe get Gadelia versus Moroz next and see if the winner of that can get a title shot. Calderwood, I mean, give her the loser of like Rawlings versus Ellis or something like that. She can fight Badarak or something like that, and just give her a confidence boosting opponent. That's who she needs. You know what? If you want to give Moroz a title shot, it's not the worst thing to do just because the division's so new. I think what Penne's fighting Daly. Maybe get the win in that fight. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, but see, that's the thing. It's like there aren't like any great challengers anyways for Jędrzejczyk. So Moroz wouldn't be the worst. I mean, just because. I mean, any other name besides if you want to like pluck Jessica Aguilar from World Series of Fighting or something. No one else is that great, you know. I mean, there aren't like these like. It's still such a new division, you know. I mean, it seems like a person off a 2-fight win streak is gonna get a title shot. Not the worst thing to give Mirna Moroz a title shot, whether she's ready for it or not. It's just the state of the division is right now. If not, there's a lot of options for her. She can get the winner of Angela Hill versus Tesha Torres. Give her Alexander Albu, who fought on this card. Winner of Penne versus Daly. The rest of Namajunas fights Nina Antrell. Give her the winner of that. Give the losers of these fights to Calderwood. Lots of options for Moroz if they don't give her a title shot. On to the prelim slam. Edwards defeated Seth Baczynski by knockout in 8 seconds of the first round. Baczynski's chin is shot, man. I mean, yeah, he did look good against Thiago Alves. Got knocked out by Alan Joban. Got knocked out by Brian Melanson. He gets knocked out badly too. You know, these aren't like TKOs. I mean, he's like on the ground for a while sometimes. His chin's just not there. He's a guy that goes to war a lot, and I think his chin, you know, he's a guy that lives by the sword, dies by the sword type of guy. Baczynski is, you know. He should. I don't know. I think he's only won one of his last like 5 or 6 fights too. Might get cut from the UFC. With Edwards, he's a good prospect. Decent enough takedown defense. Good striker, but he only throws a lot of single strikes, which I don't like. He has some pop in the strikes though, you know. He's a pretty decent prospect actually. He's pretty accurate with his striking, which I really like. He arguably could, you know, some argue should have got the win over Claudio Silva. Just more lower to mid-tier guys at the division for Leon Edwards. Next fight is that Bartosz Fabinski defeated Gareth McClellan by unanimous decision. I watched videos of both these guys. The way Fabinski fought McClellan is pretty much the way I saw him fight in the regional scene, you know. Goes up against the cage, forces that takedown, works from top position. Maybe he'll pass guard to a dominant position or just work ground and pound. It works, you know, what can I say? And actually at middleweight, it'll work, you know. There are guys that he can probably do that to. He can probably do that to Tom Watson. He can maybe do that to like a Dylan Andrews, maybe a Sam Alvey, you know. Who else is lower tier, man? Ed Herman, you know. Might work on those guys, you know. It's more lower to mid-tier guys in the division for him. McClellan, I mean, he'll probably get another fight in the UFC. At middleweight, I mean, they had to find like someone out of the Ultimate Fighter or something like that for him to fight. I don't know if McClellan, quite honestly, is ready for the UFC. But, you know, just more lower level guys of the division for him. Next fight is that Sergio Moraes defeated Mikhail Labot by unanimous decision. There's some arguments here. A lot of people thought that Labot should have got the win. I gave Moraes the second and third round. The problem with Labot really was that he was just like throwing a jab. I mean, he moved well. I liked what I saw from him, but it's not the type of offense that's going to win favor with judges. I mean, just not. You know. Granted, he was fighting Sergio Moraes. You can tell that he was fighting a way to avoid getting taken down. That was the thing. You know. So, I don't think we saw all of what he had in this fight. I think he's actually a pretty good prospect. Sergio Moraes, you know, I mean, excellent on the ground. He's not going to get everyone on the ground, but when he does, he's a terror. His half guard to mount pass is awesome. He does that so effortlessly. His striking is still wild, but he's always pushing forward, and I think that's probably why he won. Like, besides the third round, why he won, like, one of the other two rounds. He's always pushing forward and throwing some really wild strikes. And, that it's just more pronounced to the judges, whereas with Labot, it's like lateral movement, jab, and it's not like, doesn't have that same, like, visual that what Moraes is doing. Whether Moraes was getting outstruck or not. With that said, just more lower to mid-tier guys in the division for both. Next for that, Yasin Meza defeated Damian Stasiak by unanimous decision. Good win for Meza, you know, he's a well-rounded enough guy. He's not great anywhere, but he's proficient everywhere. It's a good test for prospects coming into the division, I suppose. You know, he's got a good ground game. Stasiak, you know, I thought he'd do better, but, you know, he's getting outworked on, you know. Meza was clearly better on the ground. In the stand-up, Stasiak's not too bad, but, couldn't really keep Meza off him, really. It's more lower to mid-tier guys in the division for him. I don't really know. With Meza, I know who he is. I know he's kind of where he is now is pretty much. I can see him just being there, you know, being like a mid to lower level guy in the UFC. Stasiak, as far as prospects in the division, you know, take the fight on pretty short notice. So did Meza, but I don't know. I'm not too high on him as a prospect, to be perfectly honest with you. Next fight was that Anthony Hamilton defeated Daniel Omelianchuk by unanimous decision. Not a great fight visually. You know, it's apparent that Hamilton was the bigger fighter. There's a lot of work up against the cage. Hamilton would get a takedown. You know, he does have one really good strength, and it's those body punches, ground and pound to the body. Actually pretty effective. He's actually one of the better guys to do that. And I think that's pretty effective. Otherwise, there's not really much to his game that I like. I know that he's a big guy. He likes to. His striking's not that great. His biggest strength probably is in the clinch. He's not a bad dirty boxer. He's also just big and can use his size. Not a great takedown guy, but he can get takedowns on opponents. With his size, he can stay on top. With Omolianchuk, I mean, you know, it's just, he's a good striker. He's not that big for the weight class. Takedown defense is just alright, but it's not that great, you know. It's more lower to mid guys in the division for both. Next fight off that, Alexander Albu defeated Isabella Badrek by guillotine in the second round. Badrek's just not ready for this level of competition. I mean, if they want to use her as a bounce back fight for like Joanne Calderwood or something like that, or someone they like. You know, the loser of Herrig versus Paige Van Zandt, give her to Badrek or something like that. Otherwise, she's just not ready for this level of competition. One takedown she did get, she just fell into a guillotine. Striking's almost non-existent. Albu, though, I like what I see from her. I gotta admit, I think she's a good prospect for strawweight. I think she throws a solid 1-2. She has her right hand, her right cross is not that bad. Has some pop in her strikes. Defends takedowns pretty well. Not bad. Good athlete too. She's actually, you know, bodybuilder. Knows how to cut weight. You know, but I think her athleticism can get her pretty far as well. She's really young. She's only what, 23 or something like that. Doesn't have a lot of fights. Honestly, she's not that bad. I like what I see from her. She doesn't have a lot to her game yet. But what little she has isn't that bad. I actually saw one of her fights as a Velver. I mean, she managed to mount her opponent, kept mount, got ground and pound, you know. But yeah, as far as the striking goes, I mean, it's kind of relegated to 1-2. She throws it crisp enough, though, you know. I like what I see from her, you know. Just give her. She needs cage time. That's what she needs, you know. I wouldn't actually mind seeing Alexander Albu versus Mirna Moroz. I think that'd be pretty good. If not, the winner of like Rawlings versus Ellis, my bad. Alex Chambers fighting someone. Alex Chambers fights Kenley Curran. Like the winner of that would be good too. Yeah, you know, like I said, I'm actually pretty impressed with Alexander Albu. I think she's pretty good, actually. I think if you match her up with some of the more lower level strawweights that are on the roster, and there are some, like Colin Curran, Alex Chambers, you know, I think she can do relatively well and get wins in the UFC. Just needs cage time. Next round that, Stevie Ray defeated Marcin Bandel by TKO in the second round. I like what I see from Stevie Ray. I like it's all around good fighter, good stand up, good takedown defense, knows what to do on the ground. Solid fighter, good prospect. Like what I see from him. Marcin Bandel, absolutely one dimensional, and not like Marcin held it, you know, like at least with held, he's getting better with takedowns. He's really good at pulling guard to like a heel hook. His striking's actually getting better. Howard's just way more efficient at working, getting to where he wants to be. Whereas with Bandel, I mean seriously, he's getting punched a lot, going for a heel hook that just a leg lock that just isn't there, you know. Vandal also got wiped out by Marbek Taisimov, what was it, in his last fight? So, you know, I don't know if he's long for the UFC. I really don't think he is, to be perfectly honest with you. CV Ray, just more lower to mid-tier guys out of the division for him. And finally, Taylor Lapilus defeated Rocket Lee by unanimous decision. Rocket Lee is not ready for this level of competition. He's just like bad. Striking was like, he had almost like no striking to speak of. His takedown game involves him bullying to the clinch and like forcing a takedown that he can't get. Lapilus' striking looked good, crisp, is technical, you know, not a bad prospect, but you know, just move him up slowly. He needs to fight more lower level guys, but you know, good striker, you know. It's more lower level guys for Taylor Lapilus. With Rocket Lee, I'll probably give him one more fight in the UFC. Use him to build up some dude who just lost, who maybe want to build up, you know, just a confidence boosting fight. So that's it for my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 64. Filipovic versus Gonzaga. If you have any comments, just leave them below. That's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.